I still get as stupid, but I'm not as wild as I used to be. I try to control it a little more because I'm not ready to go.
You were born in Fairbanks?
I was born at the other end of this road, 56 miles away, Fairbanks, Alaska, 1963.
How have you made a living most of your life?
Oh boy, that's a tricky one. I run equipment since I was 12 years old. For my dad, we had a farm with 3,000 chickens and everything else. Mechanic for probably 20 years for my brother and run an automotive shop for probably 5 or 10 years. Some different jobs, welder's helper, little TV show called Alaskan Off-Road Warriors in 2014. The TV show is something I sort of dreamed about, but I actually wasn't the one that threw my name in the hat. I mud raced for 30 years, and some other people threw my name in the hat, and they wanted somebody like me with a Toyota Land Cruiser. So I actually got on it, because they already had a Jeep, they had a Land Rover, they wanted a Land Cruiser.
And then they had the bright idea to, let's do a show about these
Off-road
off-roaders.
trucks running across Alaska, from Homer all the way north to Prudhoe Bay. But we ended up just going from Anchorage to Prudhoe Bay. Sand dune, big dog!
These two off-roading buddies from Fairbanks, Alaska are next to roll into the dunes.
Butch is okay with me as a driver. He knows I'm a crazy driver and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah! For me, it was more for the nature part of it. I was hoping they'd throw more bears and moose in it, but being an off-roader, I wanted to do it. I would have probably did it for free until I found out after a couple of days what was involved.
Which was?
Lots of long hours and lots of camera interviews and them wanting to get it right for the main man somewhere else in the States.
Were you frustrated with the process because it was artificial or for other reasons?
I wasn't frustrated once I seen the paycheck coming in. They allowed us to do some bets after we were in like 2.5 weeks into the TV show. They wanted us betting against each other with fake Monopoly money, but they were going to give us real money at the end, and I won about $8,000 with that side betting alone. And we did a 5-week stint.
The whole race, the whole show took 5 weeks?
Yeah, about 5 weeks.
Why did they want you so bad, you think?
Well, my nickname's Wild Bill. I drove over cars, probably have 120 trophies from mud racing in 30 years. My wild, crazy saying back in my 20s was, how deep can it be? And I'd hit water up to my hood, which could be 5 foot deep, and just scare the snot out of passengers that didn't know how deep the lake was or whatever.
What would you like to tell people about Alaska that they might think isn't true or misconceptions about? Because we're not just in Alaska, now we're 2 hours outside of the city of Fairbanks, so I mean we are. But look at around us here. I mean, this is like a slice of paradise.
Right here, Alaska's beautiful, but I'm mostly a Fairbanks guy. But this isn't showing the picture, but we're in a bowl right here. There's hills all the way around us. And then the highway comes through a little V right there. The weather can be totally different 5 minutes down the road, and then you come into this little bowl, and the northern lights, Aurora Borealis, come right over it at different angles. This way, this way. It's just beautiful. I love Alaska. Animals, not a lot of rules and regulations yet. You can take your trucks where you want to, kill a tree if you really want to, not get in trouble, unlike Anchorage. Be good, Bill.
Go on.
Yeah, no, ask me another one. I got to be good.
Well, what is it about Anchorage? You just think it's a little bit too
Anchorage
established,
is a
too
big
regulated?
city, and I don't know what the right word would be to say, but I know there's people down there like me, but then there's a lot that are, I don't know how to say, trail happy, but they don't want to kill trees, a couple trees just to get to an area. And to me, you kill a couple trees, that might be a better fire line for the next forest fire. I don't kill them on purpose, but if you got something you want to go further, what's one tree? There's a lot of trees in Alaska.
I see many behind you.
Yeah, they're out back everywhere, and they're beautiful. Right now it's almost September, it's fall, changing colors.
Are you worried about that? Has that influence been growing in Anchorage over the years?
Yeah, but think, and I don't pay total attention to it, but I think a lot of Anchorage people are getting tired of the big city life and maybe some of the gang stuff going on. They're going to Wasilla, and some are coming to Fairbanks, and Fairbanks is even smaller yet.
Are you worried about that influence encroaching the whole state?
No, Fairbanks is pretty much a bunch of, how would I put that? The gangs, we've always joked about gangs getting here, but there's a lot of swamp holes to take care of problems like that. And the people up here are pretty, not deal with that kind of stuff, unlike Anchorage being different.
So if you can point out that issue in Anchorage, what do you think about seeing it in the rest of the lower 48?
You know, I just started paying attention to it. It's, I've had people come to Fairbanks from Washington. They went from Washington to Idaho and Montana to go four-wheeling with four-wheelers, not even trucks. And they have to give money out, and then they have to ride their four-wheelers on a paved road or a trail that's not mud or swamp. And they said, screw that, loaded their stuff back up and come up to Alaska. And I took them for rides up here. Because they want to go get muddy and do something.
And that's becoming even more rare in the rural states of the U.S.
Yes, sir.
The lower 48.
At least to my knowledge, yes. Too many restrictions. I'm not a big restrictions guy. I'm old-fashioned, I guess.
What kind of work are you doing presently?
I haven't been. I've been taking a breather for a couple years. Relaxing. Kicking back.
So when you're not here, how do you spend your time?
I'm either out on a trail for 3 to 5 days with my motorhome and my truck, or I'm at home doing some yard work. I have a pretty good-sized yard.
People in Alaska, they could be construction, truckers. They all seem to have a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
Four-wheelers, motorhomes.
Boats.
Yeah. What is?
Skis.
How can they afford all that on a?
They can't. They owe money. A lot of them. Yeah, I've had a few families where I've met and sort of went out with a lady for a while, but she was single and her kids didn't have a dad, and it fit into mine because I don't have no kids, so I'd be like a dad to them. We'd go out in the mountains and go fishing and cook fish for them. We'd have a riot. It was actually a blast. It let me understand what I probably missed in not having kids.
Do you have regrets around that, or are you just glad you've had that you've had whatever exposure to that you've had?
I'm glad, and now I'm around a gentleman and his wife that have a little boy, and I'm like a godfather to him, and it's a riot. It's a blast.
Do you wish you'd had kids?
I'm probably beyond that now, but I'm not too worried about it. But I enjoy being around their baby.
Yeah.
Because I've watched him grow up since he was tiny. I mean, since he was born. I don't feel 57 right now, but whew, it's weird to think I'm that old.
When you see another person and they're 57 and you think, am I the same age as them?
Do I look that old?
And does it make you, and when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, well damn, maybe I am in my 50s. Maybe I guess when it sinks in that you're no longer in your 40s or whatever, does it deflate you? Does it like,
I'm going to say it does deflate you a little bit.
I'm closer to 70 than I am to 40.
Yeah, yes, it definitely plays with your head up here a little bit. Because now I want time to slow down. And there were years that I thought years drug on, but now that I'm this far ahead, 30 years later, I want the next 20 or 30 to just freaking slow way down. And I'm trying to do that myself by getting out and just hitting nature or whatever I want to do a lot more than I used to. Because I don't want to be at the house. I just want to be out. Go home long enough to mow the lawn and do a load of laundry, take a good shower, and back out we go. You know, when his, I love my older brother, but when his wife passed in her sleep, he sort of cut loose. That was his big marriage. And when we'd go snowmobiling, and he was probably more of an adrenaline junkie than me, and he could ride. And we were riding together with two or three other good friends of mine who were good riders. And we went over the top of a mountain. Well, we stopped on the top of a mountain and looked down it. And,
where?
Down by our Summit, Arctic Man area. In
Alaska?
Yeah, just an hour and a half out of Fairbanks. And we all stopped up top to look over this freaking mountaintop. and we were both in different spots, but 50 feet away and looking down. And when we looked down and thought we could do it, he just jumped on his sled and went over. And I was so quick on mine, but when he jumped over the top, the whole thing avalanched even over to me, and my skis were half over the avalanche itself. But I hit the brakes because it all happened too quick, and that was a scary deal because we didn't see him, and it was all snow for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
What do you mean all snow?
You could see because it was a weird mountain top with a canyon thing, and when it all cut loose, and it was a big drop off when we had to come back up. We realized how much snow went down. We were screaming for him, and we finally went down looking for him, and I found him he was about out of the snow that far, and I was dying. I was sweating so bad from running looking for him because I went half a mile down this damn mountain to find him, and
running over
snow chunks, just.
That it just broke off and fall.
Yeah, and it's an adrenaline pumping thing, thinking your brother's dead, and so I get down there and I finally calm down, breathing. I go, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You mind if I take a few minutes and get a picture?" And he said, "Oh yeah, go ahead." So I took a couple pictures, dug him out. Then we had to go back up the mountain to get his snow machine because it was up above him. And it took me and my buddies. We told him to go to the bottom, and me and my buddies to go to the top. It took us probably an hour or two to get back to our snow machines. And we had to come down that dumb thing. And all the snow was all at the bottom, but we made it down. By the time we get down to him, some troopers had told him, they'd chatted with him, and told him, "Well, if you ever get in another avalanche, you want to jump off your snow machine." And I don't agree with it then, I didn't agree with it this day, because then we talked about what happened, because we're crazy riders. We went right across the valley and up on a little tiny mountain and dropped over the top of it, went over the top, down this really mellow angle, but then because of him having a grab bar in the center of his handlebars, it allows you to grab it with one hand and hook hard and then nail the throttle, and you can go from this way to straight up. And none of us had that grab handle, so you don't have nothing to grab onto. You just have your handlebars out like this with the grab handle.
So he made a sharp maneuver.
Oh, he made a freaking 90-degreer.
Okay.
And by the time and we were on angles different ways. And by the time I got turned around like 20 seconds later, I had come up on a little different part of the mountain with a little bit of an edge, and he'd already went up top, came over, and it slabbed off in like 10-foot chunks. And I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, yelling between these cracks, because all the slabs come down and sort of stacked against each other. "Where you at?" And I mean, probably almost went hoarse screaming. We had to leave him overnight, and they brought us a dog in the next day, and I told them, "You can sniff him out," but and we'd probed that night for him, but they made us get off the mountain because they were worried about another avalanche. So I had some really bad nightmares that night, but I didn't sleep. But they found the dogs smelled him out, and we dug him out. But yeah, that was rough on me there. 'Cause I felt like it was my fault. Remember, my family told me, "No, it wasn't your fault. You both are crazy mothers." Yeah, let's see if I can make a face when we get in this mother. Where at?
Do you have a desire to move elsewhere, live elsewhere?
Not really, but I'm over 50 now, and I'm starting to understand people with the snowbird mentality. It'd be nice to get out of here for a couple months. I still love the snow machine up here when it's 0 to 20 above. And lots of snow, because I'm an adrenaline junkie, summer and winter.
Is your adrenaline any less that you're 57, or are you still
Nope, just my fingers bother me a little more. But no, everybody that goes out with us says, "Man, that old timer can outride most of the youngsters."
Huh. Are you impressed with how you've been able to stay youthful?
I'm very impressed. I'm got some neck and back issues, but been a little bit of arthritis starting. But I've seen people that are younger than me that have issues that I figure is coming to me down the road. But because I've had a lot of accidents and stuff. I'm doing pretty good for my age. Never thought I'd make it past 45 back in the day, but now I'm ready to keep going.